Welcome back to Talk Tickers, a show where we like to break down those earnings calls so you don't have to.
Right.
Today, we are diving deep into Coherent's Q2 2025 report, a company making some pretty big waves in some seriously hot tech sectors right now.
Yeah, they're a fascinating case study, riding the wave of trends like AI next-gen displays and just that ever-growing demand for faster data.
For sure, faster data. So first things first, let's hit those highlights. Coherent reported record revenue.
Yeah, record revenue.
Of $1.43 billion.
Yeah.
A 27% jump year over year. Not too shabby.
Not too shabby at all. And it's not just that top-line growth. Their non-GAAP gross margin landed at 38.2%, showing they're focusing on profitability as well.
Absolutely. Profitability is important. So let's unpack what's driving this success. Their earnings call point to a few key areas, starting with AI-driven datacom. We're talking about the backbone of data centers here. And Coherent's riding high on that demand for 800 gig transceivers.
Yeah. Now, for those who aren't familiar, these transceivers are like super highways for data, enabling that lightning-fast communication within data centers. And as AI applications explode, so does the need for this kind of speed.
I mean, it's like Coherent is essentially providing the picks and shovels for the AI gold rush. Smart move.
A smart move for sure.
But their success story doesn't end there, does it? They're also seeing a resurgence in the telecom sector, with revenue up 11% year over year.
Yes. After a period of, relative softness, telecom is showing signs of life. This is partly driven by the ongoing rollout of 5G networks, which require more sophisticated optical components.
Playing right into Coherent's strengths.
Yeah, it's like they've got a finger on the pulse of what's hot in tech, and they're capitalizing on it brilliantly. But here's where it gets really interesting for me, at least. Their display tech is booming. Thanks to the rising popularity of OLED screens, we're talking those super vibrant, energy-efficient displays you see in high-end smartphones, and increasingly in larger devices like laptops and tablets. Yeah, and what's key here is that Coherent provides the highly specialized lasers, called excimer lasers, used to manufacture these OLED screens. It's a niche market, but they're really the dominant player. As OLED technology expands beyond smartphones to laptops, tablets, and even TVs, Coherent is perfectly positioned to benefit.
It's like they've got a winning recipe, and they're just scaling it up to meet this growing demand. But, let's talk margins for a second, because that's where things get really exciting for investors. How are they managing to squeeze more profit out of each dollar of revenue?
Well, they're doing it through a combination of strategic pricing and operational efficiency. On the pricing front, they're making sure they're getting a fair return for their cutting-edge technology. They know they're offering a premium product, and they're not afraid to price it accordingly.
Yeah, that makes sense. In a world of cutthroat competition, you got to know your worth.
Yeah.
But what about the efficiency side? How are they streamlining their operations to boost those margins?
Well, they're focusing on improving yields, particularly in their datacom business. Essentially, they're finding ways to produce more with less waste, which is a win-win for their bottom line and for sustainability.
So they're getting smarter about how they manufacture their products, and that's translating into bigger profits. But what really caught my eye were some of the game-changing innovations Coherent is cooking up. Let's talk about the optical circuit switch, or OCS for short. It sounds like something straight out of Star Trek.
It does have a futuristic ring to it, but the technology is very real and potentially revolutionary. The OCS allows data centers to transmit data using light instead of electricity.
Well, hold up. Data transmitted by light. What kind of impact does this have on data centers?
Well, it's a potential game changer on multiple fronts. First, speed. The OCS allows for significantly faster data transmission, which is crucial as we generate and process ever-increasing amounts of data. Second, efficiency. Transmitting data with light requires less energy than traditional electrical methods, leading to lower operating costs and a smaller carbon footprint.
So faster data, lower costs, and a greener footprint. That's a triple win in my book. And Coherent just snagged their first customer order for this platform. What kind of revenue are we talking about? And when can we expect to see this impact their bottom line?
Well, revenue from the OCS is expected to be modest this year. Think of it as dipping their toes in the water. But the real impact is projected to be felt in 2026 and beyond, as adoption of this technology ramps up.
It was a long game, but with potentially huge payoffs down the road. But wait, there's another innovation we need to talk about, and that's co-packaged optics, or CPO. It sounds like they're packing even more power into a smaller space.
You got it. CPO is all about integrating optical components more tightly, allowing for even faster data transmission speeds and greater efficiency.
So it's like going from dial-up internet to fiber optic broadband. But on a whole other level, what kind of impact is Coherent expecting CPO to have on the data center market?
They believe CPO will be a key driver of growth in the data center market, and they're well positioned to capitalize on it. With their expertise in core optical technologies, it's all about miniaturization and optimization.
All right, so they're innovating like crazy, raking in the dough, and positioning themselves for a future where data travels at the speed of light. But let's be honest, most of our listeners are wondering, what does this all mean for my portfolio?
Well, as always, we can't offer any financial advice. What we can do is provide you with the insights and information you need to make informed investment decisions.
Exactly. We're not here to tell you what to buy or sell, but we can help you understand the story behind the numbers, the trends shaping the industry, and the potential opportunities and risks associated with a particular company.
And in Coherent's case, their strong earnings performance, strategic focus, and commitment to innovation make them a company worth watching closely.
For sure, a company worth watching.
But before we, get too carried away, let's take a quick breather, and then we'll come back and delve a little deeper into some of the nuances of their strategy.
Sounds good to me. Stick around, folks. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Talk Tickers. Before the break, we were painting a pretty rosy picture of Coherent's performance. Record revenue, innovative tech. It's all looking pretty good. But let's dig a little deeper, shall we? No earnings call analysis is complete without taking a closer look at their strategic moves. And this quarter's report had some interesting developments.
Absolutely. And one of the most noteworthy points is their decision to streamline their portfolio, particularly their move to explore strategic alternatives for their advanced lithium-ion battery recycling technology.
Yeah, I found that intriguing. On the surface, it seems a bit counterintuitive, right? Battery tech is a hot sector, and recycling is only becoming more important. Why would they divest from this area when they seem to have a strong foothold?
It's a great question, and it speaks to Coherent's laser focus on their core competencies. By shedding non-core assets, they're freeing up resources to double down on what they do best. Optical networking. Remember, this is a company that's built its success on pushing the boundaries of data transmission.
So it's a strategic pruning, so to speak. They're trimming away the branches to allow the core of the tree to grow even stronger. But how does this decision fit into the bigger picture of their long-term strategy?
It signals a clear commitment to becoming the undisputed leader in optical networking. They're betting big on the future of data, and they're making the moves necessary to capitalize on that growth. This divestment allows them to concentrate their investments in R&D, capacity expansion, and strategic acquisitions that align with their core vision.
So they're playing the long game. And they're not afraid to make bold decisions to achieve their goals. But let's be realistic. No company is without its risks. What are some potential challenges or headwinds Coherent might face in the coming quarters?
Well, one thing to keep in mind is the competitive landscape. The optical networking market is crowded with players, both established giants and nimble startups. Coherent needs to maintain its competitive edge by continuing to innovate and deliver best-in-class solutions.
It's like a high-stakes game of chess, constantly anticipating your opponent's moves and staying one step ahead. But beyond competition, are there any other factors that could impact their growth trajectory?
Of course, macroeconomic factors always play a role. Global economic uncertainty, supply chain disruptions, even fluctuations in currency exchange rates can all have an impact on the company's performance.
True, you can't control the tides, but you can learn to navigate them. But I'm curious, how is Coherent mitigating these risks? They seem to be doing a lot right, but no company is immune to external pressures.
You're right, and one of their key strengths is their diversified customer base. They serve a variety of industries, from telecom to data centers to industrial applications. This diversification helps cushion the blow if one sector experiences a downturn.
It's the classic don't put all your eggs in one basket strategy. But what I find really exciting about Coherent is their relentless focus on innovation. They're not just content with being a leader in today's tech landscape. They're actively shaping the future.
Absolutely. Their investments in groundbreaking technologies, like the optical circuit switch and co-packaged optics, are a testament to their commitment to pushing the boundaries of what's possible. These are game-changing innovations with the potential to revolutionize data centers.
And they're not just focused on the flashy, futuristic stuff. Their expansion of indium phosphide capacity shows they're thinking strategically about the core materials that power their most advanced technologies.
Exactly. Securing their supply chain is a crucial step. In assuring their long-term success, they're anticipating future demand and laying the groundwork to meet it head-on.
So they're making smart moves, they're innovating like crazy, and they're positioned to ride the wave of some of the most powerful tech trends. But let's shift gears for a moment and have some fun. It's time for our favorite segment. This is not financial advice, where we unleash our inner Wall Street mavericks and pitch a totally outrageous but potentially brilliant trade idea.
Ah, yes, the segment where logic meets lunacy, and we let our imaginations run wild. I'm always eager to hear what you've cooked up. What's on the menu today?
All right, strap in for this week's This Is Not Financial Advice segment, because we're going full-on science fiction meets Wall Street. We've been dissecting coherence dominance in optical data transmission, the technology that's making everything, from AI to lightning-fast internet possible.
They're essentially the architects of the data superhighways of the future.
Exactly. So here's my wild, speculative, and utterly irresponsible trade idea. Short copper and go long lasers. Hear me out. As we transition to a world where data travels at the speed of light, copper wiring becomes about as relevant as a rotary phone.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Walk me through your logic here.
Think about it. Copper is the old guard. It's slow, bulky, and inefficient compared to fiber optics. The future is all about photons, zipping through glass fibers powered by lasers. So I'm betting on a world where copper mines are ghost towns, and Coherent is the king of a data-driven empire.
It's a bold vision, I'll give you that. But as always, reality is a bit more nuanced. While the shift towards optical technology is undeniable, copper still plays a vital role in many industries, and its demise might be a bit premature.
Of course, of course. This is purely hypothetical, a thought experiment for our listeners to chew on. We're not actually advising anyone to liquidate their retirement savings and bet it all on lasers.
Indeed. And it's always important to approach investing with a balanced perspective and a healthy dose of skepticism. But it is fascinating to consider how these technological shifts might disrupt traditional industries and create opportunities for those at the forefront of innovation.
Exactly. And who knows, maybe in a decade or two, we'll look back at this conversation and say, hey, that outlandish trade idea wasn't so crazy after all. But in the meantime, remember, this is not financial advice. Do your own research, consult with a professional, and invest responsibly.
Couldn't agree more. Understanding the fundamentals, evaluating risks, and making informed decisions. Those are the cornerstones of sound investing. And that's what we strive to do here at Talk Tickers, to equip our listeners with the knowledge and insights they need to navigate the complex world of finance.
Well said. So to wrap up our deep dive into Coherent's Q2 2025 earnings call, it's safe to say they're a company firing on all cylinders. They're riding high on key tech trends, they're innovating aggressively, and they're strategically positioning themselves for long-term success.
They're a company worth keeping a close eye on, that's for sure. And as always, the real takeaway here is the importance of staying informed, asking critical questions, and never being afraid to challenge conventional thinking.
Couldn't said it better myself. And on that note, we'll sign off for today.
Thanks for joining us on Talk Tickers, and we'll catch you next time for another deep dive into the world of earnings calls. Until then, happy investing, and may your portfolios be ever in the green.